What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the best mid-range smartphone. So we're going to keep it under $500, starting with the Realme X2 Pro. This phone is a beast. I can't wait to get my hands on it when it comes to Amazon. So why is this phone a beast? First off, the design is really nice. You have a front and glass back design with an aluminum frame. So this does have a Super AMOLED display, a 6.5-inch display, and it is 1080 by 2400. So you have that little water drop notch, 402 for the PPI, and get this display is 90 Hz, so you can pick this phone up for around $400 depending on where you get it from, and it's really nice. So Android 9, you should get Android 10 in the future with Color OS 6.1. Now this phone has the Snapdragon 855 Plus, so the Snapdragon 855 Plus for $400 is crazy. So Adreno 640, no SD card support, which sucks, 64 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM, which is really nice. So you have a quad camera setup, a 64 megapixel wide, a 13 megapixel telephoto lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So pretty crazy. You also have a 16 megapixel selfie. So from what I've seen from the pictures, it takes some pretty decent pictures. So I'm gonna have to test that out when I get my hands on it. But it doesn't stop there. You have stereo speakers on this guy as well. And get this, they keep the 3.5mm jack, which is very nice. So you have NFC on board, USB Type-C as well, a 4000 milliamp battery, which is really nice. Will get you through a day and a half of battery life. And you have 50-watt charge, fast charging, so 100% in 35 minutes. That is absolutely nuts. So can't wait to get my hands on this one. Next is the Mi 9T. So this phone is a beast, and it's just really nice. I use it as my backup phone to my main phone, and it's just so nice. Front and glass back design, aluminum frame. You have an AMOLED display. It is a 6.39-inch display, 1080 by 2340, 403 for the PPI. So you do have Android 9. It will get Android 10 on top of MyUI 10, which is very smooth, have a lot of customization. Snapdragon 730, so there hasn't been anything that I haven't been able to play smoothly on this phone. So you have the Adreno 618, so you should be able to do gaming, or you can do gaming just fine on this phone. I haven't run into any problems. Micro SD support is not on here, so that kind of sucks, with 64 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. So you have a triple camera setup at 48 megapixel wide, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and a 13 megapixel ultra wide with the pop-up camera, which is a 20 megapixel. So the cool thing about this phone is that it takes really good pictures with the stock camera, but if you put Gcam on it, it takes some really great pictures, amazing pictures. So really good quality for $300. They keep the headphone jack, which is nice. The speaker is pretty loud on this guy as well. USB Type-C. You do have very good battery life. I'm getting about 7 to 8 hours on this guy, which is great. And you have 18-watt fast charging. Now if you're a Samsung fan, you're gonna want to check out the Samsung Galaxy A70. So this is for around $300, and it's a pretty nice phone. So it does not have a glass back. It's got Samsung's kind of 2D glass, which is technically plastic, but still looks really nice. You get some crazy color options as well. You have a Super AMOLED display at 6.7 inches. You also have a full 1080p display, 393 for the PPI, so very sharp, running on top of Android 9 with One UI. So you have the Snapdragon 675 processor, which is pretty decent. You will be able to play games on medium and stuff like that just fine. So you shouldn't have any problems there. Adreno 612 for the GPU. Now you do have micro SD support, which is very nice on here for 1 terabyte. So you can expand that 128 gigs that comes with it. And you also have 6 gigabytes of RAM. So you have a pretty nice, respectable triple camera setup, 32 megapixel, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor on top of the 32 megapixel front facing camera. Samsung has some pretty good image processing. Like I said, if you put Gcam, you will get even better photos. You have one single firing speaker, a 3.5mm jack, and you also have USB Type-C. So this one has the fingerprint scanner under the display, which is nice, with a massive 4500 milliamp battery. So that is just crazy. You should be able to get excellent battery life, around 2 days of battery life if you're a light user. You do have 25-watt fast charging as well. So I just love this phone, the design. If you're a Samsung fan, this is something you're gonna want to look at. Next is my personal gaming phone, the LG G7. I just absolutely love this phone. It's got an front front and glass back design with an aluminum frame. It's IP68, dust and water resistant. You do have an IPS display at 6.1 inches, which I love the display size of this. It is a 1440p display, which is very nice. It has the highest resolution out of any of these phones on the list, at 564 for the PPI, so very nice. You have an always on display, which is nice for an IPS display. Android 9.0 with the Snapdragon 845, so I've been able to play Fortnite and PUBG on high, no problem. So I love playing games on that beautiful display. Now you do have the Adreno 630 GPU, which is very nice, and this phone does have micro SD support up to 1 terabyte with 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM. So you do have very capable dual cameras, like 216 megapixel cameras. The other one is an ultra wide, which is very nice, and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. So you can put Gcam on here and get even better photos. Last on the list is the OnePlus 6T. This is a pretty good deal. You can find for $282. You have a front glass back aluminum frame, very nice design. You do have the optic AMOLED display on here, 6.41 inches. It is a full 1080p display at 402 for the PPI. You do have Android 9 on top of Oxygen OS, which is basically like a stock Android. You also have the Snapdragon 845, so you will be able to play games on high with this guy, Adreno 630. This does not have expandable storage. You have 128 gigabytes of storage, which should be fine for most people, and 6 gigabytes of RAM. So this is a very future-proof phone for a great price. You do have the dual camera setup, a 16 megapixel wide, and then you have a 20 megapixel wide camera as well. You also have a 16 megapixel selfie camera. So I really love the just build quality, the camera, and the specs. You do not have a 3.5 millimeter jack, which is lame. No dual speakers on here, just one speaker. NFC on here as well with a 3,700 milliamp battery. So I really like this phone. I'm a big OnePlus fan, so if you're a OnePlus fan, you want your updates timely, because this will probably get Android 10 before a lot of phones do. And I just really like this phone if you're into gaming as well. So the battery life is pretty good. You should be able to get about a day and a half with that battery life. And you do have the fingerprint scanner under the display, which is a nice touch. So thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.